9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
In the garden with a green leaf sway, see bunnies rolling up, we light it our way. Mr. Guinness got the bombs, we puffin' all night. Talking cultivation, yeah, we're feeling alright. Light it up, feel the vibe, let it be known. Garden cultivation network, we on the scene. Rolling that green, living out the dream. Chatting about the strains, how to plan it right. Join us every week, yeah, we light up the night. Wednesday to Friday, we keep it alive. Cannabis talks, everybody's feeling high. Sharing secrets of the grow, it's a sacred art. In this cultivation game, you gotta play your part. Keep it real, keep it tight, watch the plants grow. Garden cultivation network, we on the scene. Rolling that green, living out the dream. Chatting about the strains, how to plan it right. Join us every week, yeah, we light up the night.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. How you doing?
I am good.
You're
Can't
good?
complain. No one will listen.
Oh, shit. So if anybody doesn't know, Miss Seabuddy over here lost her Instagram account on Sunday.
Oh,
And
yes,
then about an
that.
hour later, I lost my account, but I got mine back, but Bunny has not yet. So if you haven't followed her backup account, her main account, I guess now, jump over and follow Bunny Grows 2.
Ooh.
It's not a scam page, I promise. It's really her. So
Yes, and
make sure you give her
happy
a follow and help
Thanksgiving.
build her up. Oh yeah, it's Thanksgiving weekend coming up, isn't it?
I
Or
think
is that
so.
today? Is it today?
I don't know. Ours was in October, so.
Yeah, I know. I always get confused because there's 2 separate days. We'll have to ask Chad when he comes out to verify.
Yes, but now you gave the secret away. So we have a special guest tonight.
I don't know if it was a secret. I mean, that man gets around. I've seen him all over the place in the last week or so.
Tomorrow.
It's not
Everyone's
secret.
saying tomorrow.
Mm.
Yes.
I think Chad actually did tell me that when we asked him to come on the show. I think he said, well, the next day is Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure he did say that. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Turkey Day.
Yes, happy Turkey Day. Wow, I can't even talk. This is going to be a great show.
That's okay. We're going to let Chad do all the talking anyways.
Yes. So for those who don't know, you can find us over on Spotify under Garden Cultivation Network. You could also find us over on Instagram under the same name, also under Bunny Grows 2 and Mr. Organics. And we are actually working on a merch store, but we are not ready to release it yet. When we do, you guys will be the first to know.
Absolutely. We want to make it good. We want to make it right. We're having a little bit of problems right now, so we're just kind of we're doing our thing. We're taking it slow, but we'll get there. So, yeah. Do we want to bring out the man of the hour?
Yes. So we have a special guest today. If Organics want to roll the video. We have Chad Westport in the house. Oh, he's muted.
Oh, you're oh yeah, you're muted.
I'm sorry, this is my first show. I've never done this before. Thank you for helping me out there.
Man,
I was gonna say,
you're such a rookie.
I know. Please forget. Are we live? Are we gonna? No, dude, that song hits in my headphones. That's what I was trying to say. I was like, yeah, that song.
I know. I could see a groove into it. Nice.
Definitely.
So the first thing I got to know is in that video, that monster mushroom that you had.
Yes.
I gotta know about that. That thing was a beast.
That is so. It's like King Bolete porcinis. They're non-psychedelic, but that is kind of like a treasure that we find around here. And you can eat the cap. It's kind of, it's like a lot of mushrooms. It's kind of leathery, a little earthy and slimy, but you can dry it out. You can do some cool stuff with it. Those are fun to find, like going through the forest. And we actually had one guy, we were carrying one back a little bit larger than that one time from the beach. And the guy just like stopped in his truck on the road. He's like, "Is that one of them psychedelic mushrooms?" And we're like, "Oh my God, no, this would be so dangerous." Because if anybody hasn't seen that, bam, it's like that big.
It's
For real.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like it was like
Yeah,
this. Like you were
it's
holding it up next to your head, and it was like
foot tall, easily.
bigger.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I've never
yeah,
seen
just
one
the
like
cap
that
that
before.
big. No,
Yeah.
That's nuts.
yeah, I wish I knew more about
cool.
identification. There's a lot of mushrooms in this area, but I don't know enough to go and eat many of them.
Right. Yeah, I'd be nervous for sure because
Oh,
there's
for
so many
sure.
out there that can
Yes.
that can do bad things to you
Yeah.
that that I'd be worried
Oh,
about being like, I'll just have that one. If I was surviving in the wild, like I'd probably die like in a week, inside of a week, because I'd be starving to death and I'd be like, oh my God, I gotta eat something. And I'd find a mushroom or something and I'd try. It'd be like that Into the Wild movie. I don't know if you've seen that.
yes, the guy with the bus where he's living out on the bus and accidentally like eats the
Yeah,
mushrooms that kind of like depletes his stomach. Yeah, that would
yeah,
totally be me too. I just don't
yeah,
know
it'd be
enough. And there's like
100% me.
there's like chanterelles are completely edible and there's a ton around here, but there's also a false chanterelle. So it's like even nature
Mm,
tries to trick you sometimes, protecting its own.
right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weeds that like disguise themselves as other things. Like I can't tell you how many times I've seen that weed out there that looks like cannabis. It kind of has like
Hmm.
a similar leaf to it, and you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
weird. That's grown in a park. That's strange. But then you get
I
up a little closer and you realize it's not really that.
gosh dang, I need to remember their name. It's false something, but it looks exactly like a cannabis leaf. And the reason why I know this, and it's a little embarrassing to admit because I'm definitely oldest here, but there was a show called Three's Company. Three's Company
Yep.
was a big hit in
Yeah.
like the 70s. Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was like season 2, Mrs. Roper had entered a flower contest and she had took some like flowers from the kids' garden. And Mr. Roper thought it was like cannabis. He's like, "Can of what?" And it was a whole big to do. And it showed the leaf. And I was like, no way. That's funny. I got to clip that and put it into my video. But I looked up the name of the plant they really thought it was. And it really does. Like, easily could be confused for cannabis. So I'm like, I want
Yeah.
to grow some of those.
There's a
Yeah.
few of those out there. Like not just as that, but weeds that look like other plants. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that would be confusing and yeah, I definitely end up like that guy on that movie and I wouldn't make it. It'd be a
No.
week.
Yeah.
Come knock on my door. Yes. Nice. Nice. So what's new? We've had you on quite a few times and it's
Yeah.
been a little while, I guess, since I've talked to you, but
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
been a little while.
for those who don't know, can you maybe introduce yourself first?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I always forget that. But yeah, so Chad Westport, I like to help people grow at home. I want to see people grow cannabis because I think it's a healthier alternative compared to even the cannabis you can get at like a recreational store if you're lucky enough to have recreational stores. But and then there's all kinds of ways to get growing too. And like I have my preferred way, but there's many ways, and that's where I don't try to get hung up on. And that's what I like about you guys as well, is you're very open to just like, okay guys, let's just
yeah.
grow. Because most people who do it, you become addicted to it. Cannabis is the gateway drug to gardening. Like
Yes.
I wouldn't have grown all the veggies that I have. I wouldn't have grown all the herbs that I have if it weren't for my interest in cannabis and learning about soil.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's kind of the heart of what I do. I mean, I have a background. I've worked commercially. I've gone to school for agriculture and farm stuff, but getting people growing, man. That's kind of my background, and yeah, it's the
I
mission.
love that.
Now, if you had somebody brand new to ask you what the first thing to do to get started, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, there's good question, because you could go so many different directions with that.
Yeah.
One of the things, like, I try to like find out, like, what are their expectations, is because some people legitimately will think you just put it in some dirt and then you magically have a manicured bud in like 2 weeks.
Right.
There's other people who think you have to have, like a NASA certification just to grow this plant. So
Yeah.
I always try to actually, what are your expectations and what is your time commitment? Because some people, busy with job, busy with kids, maybe they travel, they're gone, 2 days at a time. Cool. I could recommend auto pots, or I could recommend a hydroponic system for you. So I try to really find out what way might work best for them. And then we kind of go from there of where to actually set up your grow, how to actually set up your grow. And then you get into the fun debate of, is it light? Is it genetics? What is it that makes their environment? What is the number one thing? So that's where I
All of
go
them.
usually. Exactly. That's always my answer. It's like all three of them. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Nice. Good
I
answer.
love that.
Good answer. Like,
Mhm.
anytime anybody ever asks me questions, I always follow up with like 30 more questions. Like, I can't answer your question until I know everything about your
Yeah.
question.
What you're doing or
I
what
need to know
you've
the
done.
details. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
I
that's the fun
definitely
thing.
relate to that.
Yeah, that's the fun thing that you learn through time too, because we're all eager to learn, and a lot of us will take in information, whether it's from books, whether it's from podcasts, whether it's from friends, but actually putting things into practice, you realize, like, oh well, my friend lived in Colorado and he said this about humidity. Totally different situation than what I'm dealing with over here on the coast. So that's also something I
Yes.
always say when you're getting an answer from somebody, particularly experts, the words "it depends" should always be somewhere in the answer, because it depends
Right.
so many things, like you're
A
just
hundred
saying.
Oh, yeah.
percent.
There's a lot of factors out there. Yeah. No, you're right. You're very right. Like, I recently had an issue with what I think was pH and it caused a lockout. But I posted it, and knowing in my head already, not knowing, but I had a really good idea as to what the issue was. So I posted it and I asked, what do you guys think this is?
Yeah.
And I had over 100 comments on that post.
Wow.
And I'm going to say half of them was, it's a CalMag deficiency. You got to add CalMag. I was like, oh, man. I knew that was going to be the main
Why?
answer. I had a feeling.
Yeah.
But they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong. It was definitely lacking CalMag, but it wasn't because the CalMag wasn't there. It was there, along with all my other nutrients were there. But I had to find out
It's
why my
just
plant
left out.
wasn't getting that. So that's why I
Hmm.
always ask so many questions as to, because yeah, you're right. It was a deficiency, but it wasn't caused by me not feeding my plant. So there's so many reasons as to why you could be having this reason or this whatever go wrong. It could be something totally different causing it. So
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
hit the nail on the head when you said lockout, because lockout looks like a deficiency, but it's not an actual deficiency in the soil. It's a deficiency in the plant tissue. Why is that? Is it because of, an imbalance? Is the pH off? Is the cation exchange off? Is the root zone too cold? And that's prohibiting the uptake. Is there not a good VPD to actually cause, uptake?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
yeah,
things. And, I started out for many years, and I love this. And this is how I learned a lot too. Like you said, sometimes you just ask the question to you and you think you know the answer, but you'll get different answers that make you think. It's like, oh, from a different
Yeah.
perspective. I love that. So I spend a lot of times on forums and trying to help people on forums and answer those kind of questions, like, oh, here's my plant, tell me what's wrong. And it's usually those few follow up. Okay, what is your lighting schedule? What is your basic temperature, your basic humidity? Try to get some of that stuff.
yeah,
But the more that I did that and the more that I learned, the more that I realize it's harder than you think to actually properly diagnose. But I
Yes.
love how you did it because you're putting it out there, and collectively, we're probably going to get it, or we're going to start the conversation that gets it. So yeah, keep
Exactly.
putting it
I don't
out
know
there.
everything. I don't know everything, and I
Me
knew
neither.
100% it could have been I overlooked something. Like I had an idea, I had a really good idea as to what it was, but maybe I overlooked something and I was thinking too much on one thing and I just didn't even think of this over here, but so
I
I
lo-
checked
I-
my runoff and that's kind of how I figured it out.
were you in cocoa or soil? Cocoa
No,
or soil?
Pro Mix.
Okay,
Pro
okay.
Mix. So like I soil, I guess, but more like a
Yeah.
peat base, I
Soilless, a
guess.
soilless soil. Yeah, soilless soil.
Yeah.
That's a
Right.
weird one, but that's what most of us are using is soilless soil.
Yep.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's true. And I had somebody ask me the other day. They were having a similar issue as to what I was, and I messaged them and I said you should check your runoff because it looks like what I was having. I'm not telling you this is 100% what it is, but it looks
Mhm.
like the same thing. Check your runoff. I said, what are you running in? Cocoa, same question that you just asked, and they said it's a mix
Yeah.
between cocoa and soil. I was like, oh well, shit. That's a little bit of a different animal there because cocoa and soilless medium is going to be a bit of a different pH. So I was like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I were you, I would meet it somewhere in the middle. And it's if your pH is high or low, then if you meet it somewhere in between those two, then you might actually be within range. So, but they
that
messaged me
that
back and said
is
their pH was low. So,
okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you do have to just kind of struggle through it or get through a run when, you do something like that unintended. You didn't really realize what the consequences were. I had actually recently actually asked Tad from Kiss Organics about that because I'm using the soil blend that we're working on together, but we didn't want to start the seeds directly in it because it already has a good it's almost pretty much a water only soil, so
right.
has a good nutrient charge to it. And we were talking about starting it in a different like a seed starting soil, and I have old Royal Gold here that I was using, and that doesn't really have much of a charge. I've started seeds in it before, so I'm like, I'll just start it in there. And I did ask him the question. I'm like, so how much do I have to worry about watering that differently than the rest? And because it was such a small volume, it wasn't going to be much of an issue. Like the root ball is going
Mhm.
to definitely extend outside of it. Um, not the circulation. Osmotic pressure is going to bring water into the roots or into that zone anyhow. But in that example of your buddy, yeah, if you have like a 1 gallon of cocoa and then you transplant it into a 2 gallon of soil, that can create some little interesting challenges, and you have to limp through it.
Yeah.
And then back to the original point of the answer. It's funny that CalMag is the answer a lot of times. It really is, man. That's why it
It
gets the
is.
bad name. That's why it gets the bad name, because you can almost just make CalMag and be right half the time.
Everything's CalMag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my other issue though. So it usually is not CalMag. It's either calcium or
Or,
magnesium,
mine
right?
is
So then you give
magnesium.
it CalMag, but then you give it CalMag, and now it's got too much of one thing and just the right amount of the other,
Yeah.
which you can get too much calcium and you can get too much magnesium
Yep.
too. So I mean, it's another one of those figuring the balance out, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they're antagonistic of each other. Too much magnesium, too much calcium. You're talking about phosphorus now. You can start locking different things out. And yeah, it's usually magnesium for me, and that's something that I seem to see more with LED growers and LED grows, especially the more powerful the lights are, the like closer we're running them. It just almost seems default like they're hungrier for that. So I've tried a few different things. Epsom salt is one of those. Use that as a soil drench. I've used that as a foliar. I prefer it as a soil drench. It's something that is kind of like good even if you don't necessarily need it, like it's hard if you have like a definite deficiency and then you add it. It's hard to catch up on that because you can go too hard on the Epsom salt. You don't want to like turn that into a regular
Overdo it.
routine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like in a good run, it's 1 or 2 times. You know, it may be a little bit before I flip the flower and maybe a little bit after. The sulfur is also good for flowering and thiols and terpenes and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But that's what I've been using. And then I just got a new product that I'm trying out. It's called Solar Rain. It's a foliar spray from Rooted Leaf. Yeah, we're going to see. Because again, I can easily get a mag deficiency in my lights or with my lights if I want to. So it's not going to be hard to get the plant to test it on.
Yeah.
So that's a common thing. LEDs causing a magnesium deficiency.
Yeah, yeah. Like again, it goes back to CalMag. CalMag seems to be the answer. If you add a little bit more CalMag than normal,
Then you're fine.
it tends to stay better. But you know, the magnesium deficiency, I'll typically see that it's like intervenal chlorosis. So the veins on the leaves kind of remain green, but the little stripes in between them, you'll start to get a little bit of yellow. And it's not something that really starts from the edge and work its way in. It's just a general over the whole leaf. Typically kind of like older or middle leaves you start to see it, but any deficiency really, once you start to see it, you're 2 or 3 weeks behind. So it will soon start manifesting as like stunted growth in the top. You'll start to lose some more color. Things will turn like that kind of more neon lime green. That's something I see a lot as well from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what mine look like right now, and I ended up having to do a couple flushes to get my soil back to the proper range.
Yeah.
So I ended up using 6.0 water with High Clean from Hygrozyme, and I did two flushes with that to get my soil back to 6.2 ish, and then I started actually giving it food again after that.
No, when you're talking flushing, because I've always, you know, this is something that always comes up too, because flushing, where like most people interpret that as, oh, I'm just running a whole bunch of water through my plants.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's absolutely correct. I've kind of broken it down like in the past too, of like, because in the old days it was like, well, you need to put 2 times the volume of your pot, 2 or 3 times the volume of your pot through there. So if you had like a 5-gallon pot, you're running 15 gallons of water through that thing, which is nuts. And there's a lot of runoff. Like again, you're dealing with gallons and gallons. So prepare for that. Have a wet vac. But then there was also the time where, you know, we kind of like, is that really necessary? And this is, you know, still like 15 years ago I'm talking about. But then we started measuring it by like percentage of runoff. So when you're saying you flush it, are you just waiting for runoff, or are you like measuring the volume? You're like, well, I got, you know, a 20% runoff and then I'm calling it good.
So I have the AC Infinity trays, the self-watering bases. So I took the wicks out of there because right off the bat, I ran into all these issues and I was like, okay, so I'm going to start top watering from here on out. So I took the wicks away and basically just used those as a tray to catch runoff. So they hold a gallon. So I had about maybe half a tray, about a half a gallon inside that tray after I was done running water through. So I didn't do 15. Well, I guess mine would have been like 9 gallons because they're 3-gallon pots. So I didn't I didn't run 9 gallons through there, but I did do enough that there was, you know, like a half gallon of water in the bottom. I was able to take a turkey baster and suck some of that out and test it and make sure to see what was going on. I wanted enough that I could get like a good amount in there, that it wasn't just like a few drops. You know, I'm trying to catch it with a cup or something, but I wanted enough that I could actually test it and see. So so I guess it wasn't a proper flush, but it was.
Well,
I'm just trying to change the. I'm not trying to wash any nutrients out. I'm trying to just kind of change
reset.
My pH. I was trying to drop the pH a little bit, actually, quite a bit.
Yeah, reset the root zone. And to the point is like, I don't really know what a proper flush would be. So that's, again, that's why I asked just like kind of what volume you're doing, but you were able to see the results. You saw the data. You had your start number, you had your target number, you put enough through to reach your
Yeah.
target. So that really is probably actually the proper flush.
It was crazy because like they looked like they were overwatered. They looked like they were underwatered. Like it was insane what these things looked like. They were just sick. They looked like they were dying. It looked like if I went to bed right now and I wake up in the
These
morning,
were kind of
they were
laying.
dead. So I was like, oh my God, what is
Okay.
happening? So I did this, and by morning they were all standing up like this. They're still yellow, you know, like they're not gonna snap out of it like that, but they were
Mm-hmm.
praying, they were happy. They There was definitely a positive difference.
There's movement in there, and that's your good sign that things are going to turn around or come back to life, because a lot of times in those situations the leaves are just kind of like hanging there. They're not necessarily droopy like it's wilting, but they're not up, and then the leaves will sometimes kind of just like curl. You're definitely not like a hi, I'm healthy. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
once you get that pressure, once you get that water pressure back, things are moving inside. So that is like
yeah.
you're back on the right
It's
path at that point.
Yeah, I was taking it up
Yeah.
at that point, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Whether I fix the problem or not, things are looking better, you know. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm on the right track.
totally. You cleared the pipe at least. There's no more
Yeah.
clog in the sink.
Yeah.
Well, like, how many times have you seen people with that have an issue, and then they turn to YouTube, like we all do and we all have in
Mhm.
the past, and then they go to their plants, and then they go, okay, so I just saw 35 different videos about this problem, and this video said do one thing, this video said do something else, this one said do something else. So then people do all of those things at one time.
Mhm.
And then you don't
That's
know what fixed it, you don't know what's causing problems.
And you run
You have
into
no
other
idea at that point.
problems.
Yeah,
yeah. You exacerbate the problem because you could have done the one thing that solved it, but you're causing other problems with the three other things, and that's one of the hard
Yes.
things about growing. And that goes back to the very first question you ask. It's like, what do you say to a new grower? I find out, are you a patient person? Or are you the type of person that like wants to try everything new every second of the day? Like there are personality traits that really
yeah,
kind of help you grow, and that's one of them. And I think we've all been there, at least, of like wanting to try too much because we get excited and the plants take so long to
Yes.
like actually grow. You've learned like 5 new things and heard of 3 new products just in the last run. So we're
yep,
guilty of it, but time will teach you, not to do that. If you are growing a lot of the same strain and you are adventurous, you like to, try new things, do an A and B test, with like nutrients. It's a pain to mix 2 different things for 2 different plants, but you can experiment if you want. But don't, unless you can like duplicate the environment, it's hard to A and B stuff at the same time. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
again,
exactly.
patience.
Have you ever done that?
Patience pays.
Have you ever done like the A and B thing? Like one nutrient and another nutrient, or one soil and
All the
another
time.
soil? Yeah.
All the time. Yep, all the time, because that's been like part of my mission. And you guys, it's like documented for at least the past couple of years of I want to find like the easiest way to get people growing. And working with like certain soils, like water only soils, I've tried a lot of them. I've liked a lot of them, consulted on others, but if I can take that out of a new grower's hands of having to worry about the proper nutrition at the right time, that's helpful, I think. So yeah, I love
Yes.
doing A and B. And when it comes to like soils, there are some good water only soils. Most of them you usually have to amend if you're in smaller pots, which home growers typically are, but it is still doable. But when it comes to like bottle nutrients, and like I always love the claim of 50% bigger yields, 30% bigger yields. It's like, compared to what? Because 50%
Yeah.
increased yields a pretty big freaking difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's things that you should notice, and 90% of the time, and that's being generous, it's probably higher, I don't notice a damn thing.
Right.
Like, are
So
they comparing
between
that
my
50%
control
more
and
yield? Are they comparing that 50% more yield to no nutrients at all? Like,
Yeah,
if you're
what
just
what
gonna put
what
the
what
seed in the dirt and water it, and then if you use my
Yeah.
nutrients, they'll be 50% bigger.
yeah,
I don't know.
it's
That's
there's a lot of snake oil out there, but a lot of the things that seem to make sense on the surface level, but when you can like dig down into the science, sometimes you kind of find out why. It's like, well, in theory it works if it were applied for this long, if it were applied at this intensity, if it was this particular environmental condition, which it typically isn't. So it's like you're not wrong, but you're also not really right about the benefits. So yeah, I like my A and B tests, man, because seeing is believing.
100%.
what's the most recent one that you've done?
The most recent one is side lighting. And like my
Okay.
jury, I'm still out on under canopy lighting. Like I want to poo poo it, but I'm gonna say my jury is still out on it. And side lighting though, side lighting I did on one of my last runs. I had one plant in a 4x4 instead of my normal like numerous plants. So it helped
Yeah.
in that aspect of like really bulking, well, what I think bulking the sides of those plants up compared to if I had a bunch of little plants in there. That one in the middle is not benefiting anyway, anyhow, from that side
Yeah.
lighting. It's just the
Yeah,
ones that are like
exactly.
right there, this far away from it. And because I had one plant in there, this far away from each wall, it helped. The bud, I want to say I think it helped, but the buds on the side, they were comparable to the buds on the top. And again, the principle, the theory of it, and something that we probably all know and agree on is just the more light, the better. There is a point of diminishing returns. You can have too much, but particularly when it comes to the sides and the lower parts, by adding a little bit more light, you're probably not maxing out the DLI for the day. So those buds and those things down there are going to benefit from it. So that was that. I did see the question there from AKG Organics. Says, what are your thoughts on CO2?
Yes.
Sealed room is preferred. You have to have your grow dialed. So I usually say this is part of that last like 5% to like really, it's like the nitrous in the car. You already have a fast car, but if you add the nitrous, then you're super fast. But you
Yeah.
have to have a strong enough light. You have to be able to manage the VPD in there to keep those stomata open because the CO2 is going to want to keep them closed. So there's a lot of things you have to do. And being a good grower, having your thing is dialed and having your room dialed. Once you have that, then it could be fun to play with. I would recommend doing CO2 tanks because that is controllable. Some of the other bags, they do output CO2, but it's hard to control the output. So it's not necessarily something that you can actively control. It's not something you can really count on to drive growth. It's just kind of like, hey, I'm in here. But regardless of whatever CO2 you use, kind of put it up high because it's heavier than air, and then because it will fall down. So let it fall down onto the canopy. You don't want to put your CO2 down low. You want to put it up high, whether it's a bag or a tank. Just let it fall down on your canopy. So that's
So,
kind of my thoughts on CO2. I don't run it myself. I don't use it at home here.
so people use
Commercially, yes.
CO2 to run stronger lights. Is that my understanding? Is that
You need
why people do
you,
that?
well, yeah. You need a higher wattage. You need higher PAR, PPFD, a stronger light to take advantage of the CO2 because the CO2 is going to kind of close the stomata, which is where the gas and the water vapor is exchanged from the underside of the
Yeah.
leaf. And so it's going to kind of want to close it, but you've got to drive that light a little bit higher and a little bit hotter because that's going to encourage those stomata, the guard cells, to kind of open and release and to transpire because they're hot. Their leaf surface temperature is too much. And then,
Right.
the CO2 and the uptake, and that's really kind of the turbo boost of the CO2, the benefit. So yeah, you can't just like have a average light and you're not driving like the PPFD that you need to and get any
Yeah.
benefit from CO2 whatsoever. Oh, and I
Yeah,
guess the
so if
last
I
thing I'll
just threw
say
a
too.
CO2 tank in my tent and didn't crank my light up, it's probably really not going to do anything. Like it's almost
Yeah,
pointless at that point.
Yeah, it's not going to serve any benefit to you. And that was one other thing I wanted to mention too about like the bags or like some of the other methods. Plants don't photosynthesize in the dark, and you can only take advantage of CO2 when the plant is synthesizing. So that's another argument for having a regulated, controllable tank, because if you're just outputting CO2 in the dark, you're wasting it.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's a really good point, because I bet you like a lot of with the bags and stuff, it's not like you can shut them off, but with
No.
the tanks you can.
Yep. And you're
And
exhausting
with
the air at night, so it's you're just kind of you're like, dang it, wasting money.
yeah. See, I've always been like a true believer on like 24 hours exhaust, intake, outtake.
Oh yeah.
So I've never actually had like a sealed room or a sealed tent or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I've always kind of had an issue with like sealing everything off, and like just in my own head, like it kind of goes against everything I've been taught.
Yeah, well, it's not
So
really practical for the home grower, for the hobby grower, because you really have to dedicate a room. Now, this is something that you do commercially, because again, a sealed room is great. You're not bringing in any air, you're not exchanging any air outside, or you're not exporting any air. So you do all your environmental controls inside, which actually allows you to really maintain a very level environment when it comes to temperature and it comes to humidity. And then that CO2, you're not like spending the money to pump it and then you're putting it out of the room or out of the building. So you're not wasting it either. So sealed rooms are definitely something that you'll see more commercially, or if someone's like a really, really into it hobby grower, they'll build a room itself, because again, you have to put
yeah,
your environmental controls in it. You can't turn on the AC or the heat in the house and affect that sealed room.
right.
So
Yeah, no,
more
that makes
money to
sense.
set up. Yeah, more money to set up. Another reason you don't see it all the time.
Yeah, I see some people with some absolutely crazy, like home grows, but they do not like. If you were to take just at a glance, you'd be like, oh wow, that's a really nice looking facility you have there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, dude. Yeah.
um, Preston Bjornson. Have you seen his grow
Yes.
from GML? Oh my God,
No, I
absolutely
imagine.
insane. Absolutely
I
insane. Like if you get a chance, go check his stuff out. Like I'm talking from the control room to the grow room as you do like a little tour through. Like it's absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it for a home grow. It's
yeah,
nuts.
I do. I see some sick stuff. I again have the benefit of getting to talk to people about their grows, and dude, some people have converted their basement. Some people have converted like entire like sections of their house to it with a license, of course. But
Yep.
yeah, I wish. That's another thing, again, cannabis is the gateway to gardening. Cannabis is the gateway to finding a new place to put another tent, because you look around your room, you're like, oh geez, I just moved that bookshelf. I could probably fit a 2x4 there. It's such a habit, man.
So true.
As I look
It's
around, I'm
so
like,
true.
tent.
Well, I imagine too. You're probably like me and Bunny. Like I got extra tents that aren't set up. So if that bookshelf ever does go, I've already got one to fit in.
Yep,
It's
I
probably already been
exactly.
measured, and I already know.
Yep. I do my best to give away equipment when I get sent new equipment, but I do. I've got a backup 3x3, and I just got a new 2x4. So if I empty out a closet, or I need a little pollination chamber, I could just whip that out. Yeah,
Yep,
Yeah.
I don't think it'd go over
absolutely.
well in the living room though.
No,
We'll
your wife
see.
might get a little upset about that.
Dave, yes, Dave. He is my buddy, my friend.
Nice.
Dave's my spirit animal. He's a mythical creature. It's good to see you.
Love that.
Yeah, Nakatomi Plaza. Nakatomi Plaza is a cross between Westport Grape Juice is the female. Sunday Funday was the male. Sunday Funday. There's a couple strains out there with the name Sunday Funday, so I usually just give the cross. The cross was a sour tangy times mimosa. Yep, it was sour tangy times mimosa is what the Sunday Funday was. Was from a company called Goo Getters. Um, haven't seen much from them in the past many years, but you never know. But yeah, that is the Nakatomi Plaza, and proud of myself. I appropriately dropped it in December. It was 2 years ago, so that came out a couple years ago. But it's a great Die Hard reference. And Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so I dropped it in December, just like Hans Gruber from the top of Nakatomi Plaza.
I love that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I saw the other day, and I noticed that you've had a couple of these episodes already, but your seed collector show.
Yes.
Tell us about
It's
that,
fun.
because I tuned in for a few minutes. I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing, but it looks
Oh,
it looks
thanks.
pretty cool.
It's fun. So this is something that actually started years ago, and it's cool that Dave's Not Here popped up, because Dave's Not Here was really the driving force behind this show. We had got together. This is when I was doing a lot of shows on the Future Cannabis Project, and I forget who we were talking to, but it was just me and him and one other person. Specifically, we were just going to talk about seeds, because Dave is like a seed collector extraordinaire. Like, again, he's a spirit animal. So we just started BSing about it, and we had a great time. We had a good conversation, and people in the chat seemed to like it. So we kept doing them. And over time, we're basically, we're talking about where do you find some of these packs? Because not all these people have websites. Instagram really isn't an awesome thing for like finding your best ethical breeder in the world. But there are some places like auction sites, certain seed banks. So it was to kind of raise exposure of where people can seek out different things. And then we also talked about different breeders that we liked, why we liked that breeder, whether it was because they kind of nailed down a specific like profile, or they just had like really solid work. And then a little bit of just like strain history and strain knowledge. So that's really been like the background and theme behind the seed collectors. But yeah, I got to shout out to Dave, man. I want to get the band back together, but I don't know if he's got his guitar still. So yeah.
It's like riding a bike. I'm sure if he got another one, he could play it.
Exactly,
for
Dave.
sure.
We're gonna peer pressure you, buddy. That's how you started smoking pot in the first place. So expect Dave back soon. But yeah, I got
Nice.
another new episode lined up for, I believe it's the 14th this month.
Nice.
Well, that's exciting.
Talking seeds. Yep. I love talking genetics all day long.
It's cool how you bring out your vault and you kind of go through it a little bit and talk about this and talk about that. To your knowledge, what is your oldest pack of seeds that you have?
Oh, that's a good question.
The oldest pack of seeds that I can confirm, because I still have like my like the classic freaking film containers. I still have a few film containers, one labeled 80 seeds, one labeled 90 seeds. But aside from like those that were like bag seeds, essentially, TGA, Subcool,
Nice.
it'd be a tie between the Jack's Cleaner 2 and the Agent Orange. The Jack's Cleaner 2, I think, was 2012. The Agent Orange was 2013 or 2014. But I recently tried to pop the Jack's Cleaner 2, and none of them popped. So I was just like, oh, I've been holding them for over a decade, and I finally did nothing. So
you gotta get
that
yourself
is a
a
risk.
can.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had some seeds. They weren't quite that old, but I did have some that were like 5, 6 years old or whatever. Probably ones from like when I first started growing. And I tried to pop a couple. They didn't pop. And I was like, oh man, like I really remember liking this strain. I really, really want to be able to pop this. And I only had one left, and I threw it in the can, and boom, it popped. So
nice.
Definitely gotta check out the can. He's a cool guy too. So
yeah, I see him all over the place and working with a lot of people, which is awesome, because that's so important for the community to like help each other out, to spread some education. And it's, like there's many ways to germinate seeds. but that brings some excitement to it. And I was actually thinking just like the other night, like, I see the total purpose for it. Cause if I shined in the other tent right now, I have about 6 different little glass beakers of different seeds that I just popped. And I'm like, so that's where the can comes in handy. Cause I could have done it all in like, in like one different
can.
thing,
Yeah.
in one thing.
Keeps them all
But
separated and everything. So
yeah. Cause dude, you got to keep, if you don't label your seeds good, you just screwed from the beginning. So labeling them good is important, and that's something on the last seed collector show we did. Is I had the box out and I pulled out what I wanted to pop next, and it's been a while since I was able to actually pop other people's stuff because I've been testing and doing my own things for like a couple of years now. I'm like,
Fair
I
enough.
want to try somebody else's stuff, but I've done it and I've got them going. I put 18 into water a couple days ago. I've got 10, maybe a little more than 10 already moved into the soil. The one that I was really excited about, the black lime, I don't have any in soil yet, but all 5 of them have sunk to the bottom now. 2, I see a taproot on 1, and I think another one I could see where it's open. It's a little bit of an older stock. It's rare. It's directly from Mean Gene, the Freeborn selections. The black lime is a backbone of so many strains today. So I'm excited to kind of get back to that original source of it. So I had really high hopes. Like that one's been in my head for a few years because I'm hoping to pull a good male out of it and do some breeding with it. So fingers crossed.
would you take that and use that on one of your own strains, or would you take that and cross that with somebody else's strain and kind of make something new out of that?
Yep. What I would do is I would put that against the Westport grape juice, and I would put that against my Kool-Aid Man, and then I would pop those F1s and kind of see what the expressions are. If there's just like a plain Jane happy combination, it's 25% dad, 25% mom, 50% mixed. If that were the case, cool. I might work. Well, I probably would still work with it because I'd be really interested in the combination of the flavors.
Yeah.
If that is one of the things that actually combines well. But if I found something just like freaky in there, I would love to work with it because then I can take that and I could use that male on it again, or I could try to use that or reverse the Westport grape juice and put it back onto that. So I have the mom and the dad, so I can try to lock in or solidify traits on either side, depending upon how I wanted to work it. Because you basically want to try and take somebody's work in a different direction. You don't just necessarily want to make that first cross and call it good, which you can, and that's absolutely fine because if you have searched and you've tried different things, you've put in some work to it. But the ultimate goal is to like really take something in a different direction. The blueberry muffin was something that I was eager to pop from Humboldt Seeds. Very popular strain. So many people know it. There's a million crosses with it, and that's fine. I was interested in it and potentially working. I've heard the profile is great, so I'm excited. All 3 of those popped. Put 3 in the water. Those are 3 in the dirt already. But it has a really short flowering time, 45 to 50 days, which is incredible. So that's a tool. That's something that I want to, I want to use that and maybe do some breeding work and see if I can decrease flowering times on some things.
Take that trait onto something else. Yeah,
exactly. So if I could get, like the Kool-Aid Man being just the same as Kool-Aid Man, but finishing in 45 days, then that's something that I've really done and made myself through the combination through a few different generations. So yeah. Breeding.
That's cool. I think it's so interesting how you guys, and when I say you guys, I mean breeders. I think it's so interesting how you guys figure all this out. Like, how do I make it? Like, how do I take this trait and put it onto this? Like, I don't understand any of that. And I know it's not like,
I can't
you're not
even
just like, oh, I'm going to take this one and put it
right
here. Like it's trial and error. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
You do the work in order to get those traits, and you got to grow hundreds of plants sometimes before you get it.
Yeah,
So
and it really is, at our level and even at the commercial level, it's a lot of educated guesses because there is, like CRISPR, there is marker assisted breeding, which looks into the genome, certain chromosomes, certain alleles control certain characteristics. You can look at the DNA, you can look, oh, it has that. Cool, I'm going to breed with this plant because it has that gene for PM resistance. So that is possible, that is being done, but none of us are using it. So we have to have educated guesses, and you can do that by, again, being very familiar with like your receiver, a female like Westport grape juice. Very familiar with it. I could put that against any male, look at the offspring, and tell you what's coming from what. So
that's
if you're
amazing.
familiar with your plant, that's kind of a head start. So that helps when
Yeah.
you do make crosses. You're like, yeah, okay, this is from here, that's from there. But at the end of the day, that's why it's still an educated guess, really. I mean,
Yeah,
some people are
that's
more
cool though.
educated than others, but it's still an educated guess at the end of the day.
Yeah. Still, just listening to you to any breeders talk, I'm just like
I'm so
I'm just like
lost.
I don't know.
Yeah.
F1, S1, F3, R2, D2, like you know what I mean? It's just
Exactly.
like
I
what?
love that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy,
there's
but
it's terminology, the language, and that's one area where cannabis sucks. We're horrible with using the proper terminology. So there's some people with proper terminology, there's some people with canna terminology, and sometimes both are the same thing. So
yeah,
yeah, it's I don't understand engines at all. So I could look at an engine and be like, huh? But I
right.
also from audio understand signal routing. So I know how to try to solve a problem. It's start in the center. Is it there? No? Okay, well then it's from the center to the end. Or if it's
Right.
present in the center,
Yeah.
well it's the center to the beginning. So yeah, process.
Yep. No, that's pretty cool though. Like, I talk to Lowe's Grows all the time, and he's a breeder. He doesn't. Well, I mean, yeah, he does
Yes.
call himself a breeder, but he's not like out there. You know what I mean? Like, he's not.
Yeah.
The whole world doesn't know who he is. Like, he's not a James Loud. He's not. You know, he's a home grower, has an insane garden, but
Yeah.
he's been breeding now for a few years, and he's got, I don't even know how many crosses and how many different things he's got, but like I have a conversation with him. I ask him one question and I get like 42 paragraphs, and I'm like,
Damn.
oh shit, I'm gonna have to come back to this because I just can't read all this right now. I don't have
It's
time.
too much.
But I wanna
Yeah.
know what it says. I don't want to just read it. I want to like know
Mhm.
what he's saying, right? So I've learned a
Yeah.
lot from him, I guess. But still, when I listen to you guys talk about the different traits and F1s and whatever, I'm just like, holy shit! I don't know how you guys remember all this, but
Oh,
that's your passions, right? So you tend to retain that information, I guess.
yeah, when you,
So
you geek out on it and you get excited about it. So it's like those are the things that you think about when you're going to sleep or you're like in the shower and all of a sudden you're like, that did have the serrated double serration leaves, didn't it? So yeah,
yeah,
it happens.
that's funny.
Passion
That's
though.
funny. So
Yeah, and you could tell you definitely have a big passion for it,
Thank
oh
you.
yeah,
which is
Thank
great
you.
to see.
Thank you.
which
It's
I guess that leads me into the next thing since we're talking about your breeding. I was trying to get some seeds the other day, which I
Oh,
talked to you about
yes.
already. Um,
yes.
you're looking at getting them internationals so that us Canadians can eventually get them over here
Yes.
as well,
Yes, and
which
and
is
I did. I
great
reached out.
news.
I made the call the other day. We talked briefly via text, and yeah, we're probably going to be able to get something going. But it is Thanksgiving here. I realize you guys are the
Right.
second
Yeah, yeah.
Monday in October, but us Americans are the last Thursday in November. So yeah, not
We
much
were
is
just
getting
thinking.
done this week. I know, but
Fairly so.
hopefully I can get that worked out because there's a lot of like good friends that I have up there that I would love to like grow the plants. They're like, I want to grow the plants, but
Yeah.
I initially had the worst luck sending to Canada. Like, I think I'm like blacklisted, or I don't know what the deal is, but I was having crap luck, and I just kind of made the decision of like, I don't want to take someone's money and then either have to try to send it 3 times and maybe get it through, or
Yeah.
just never even be able to deliver. So I made the hard decision
Right.
of just like, not even going to
Yeah.
try, because I couldn't even do it for free when I was trying for free.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh,
So
it totally
I don't
makes
want to
sense.
take
Like,
people's money.
there's a lot of places that you can't. Like, I tried to buy the strawberry cough from Kyle Cushman site.
Okay, yeah.
Home Homegrow? Is it Homegrow or Homegrown? Homegrown,
Yeah,
I
I
think.
know the show. I see the
But I tried to
logo. It's green.
buy his seeds, and I got all the way to the checkout. I put my credit card information in, and then they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't send it to Canada." I was like, damn it.
Oh, that's harsh at the
So
very end too.
yeah.
Like, I've been there.
Yours
So
on your website, I knew right away that I was only gonna get them if I lived in the U.S. because you actually put that on your site, U.S.
I
only.
try.
So I didn't
Yeah.
have to go through all the stuff. I
Sorry.
knew right away that no, I like that I was able to know that beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Before
you don't
you
have
get all
everything in the
getting
cart and
excited.
then you're like,
Step
oh
on my
shit.
heart. Right.
Yeah.
Step on my heart before I get too invested into this. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like looking at it.
I don't know about you, but when
But
I'm
we
putting
are
seeds in
coming
my cart,
up.
I'm getting excited. Yes.
Yeah, we are coming up to the hour, and I forget who. Somebody had asked where they could get your seeds at. But what is the
Thank you.
website?
ChadWestport.com. So if you're in the
Nice and
US,
easy.
ChadWestport.com. Yep. Thank you. Very easy. And then hopefully soon the Daga.garden would be the international. That's who handles
Yeah.
the Nakatomi Plaza. Yeah. So that's the main website. If you click on Twin Peaks there, that takes you to kind of like the strain catalog or the history. And it gives you, the Nakatomi Plaza. And then Chud was next. And then Westport's Posse, and like the Westport's Posse and the No Joke I still have available. But if you click these, if you click that, or if you click the No Joke, it brings you to the strain description. It gives you kind of like the grow notes. It gives you what to expect from it. And then if you go to the store, you're able to order it there. I tried to keep the description out of the store and on this page. But this is the page where you come and find all the grow notes, different
Nice.
writing I did. But yeah, and then the info tab or the store info tab kind of has a little bio, but this is links to the different writings. I have over 100 published articles for ILGM, Sensi Seeds, Skunk Magazine, Pot for Pot. Those are some links to them, and then links to the videos, and you can join the mailing list there. But yeah, the store at the top that you click, that's where you would find the beans and some of the other things that I have. I try to make it more interesting for people. I want to try to build up a store with collectibles. Got a couple books, got trading cards, postcards.
Love
Trying
that.
to
That's so
trying to
cool.
put some fun things in there, because I'm a
Yeah.
collector, as you can see from the Seed Collector Show. So I try to collect and find like different or odd cannabis memorabilia and put it up for everybody if they want some too.
Cool.
Love
I was
that.
gonna buy a shirt too, just throwing that out there. I was like,
Hey.
hey, Chad Westport shirt and a pack of No Joke.
Thank you. That's right. I gotta send more than just seeds to Peter. I hope that'll work out. I think it will, but I will let you know. Definitely, man. Thank you for asking,
Yeah,
and again
definitely.
for pushing me, because I've been pushed by a few people. I'm just like, I should talk to him. And I've said like I should talk to him too many times. The last time was like, okay, immediately, dude, we need to let's send.
I'm like that too, though. Like you think about something so many times, and then finally you're just like, I'm doing it now. If I don't do it now,
Yeah.
I'm pushing it back over here again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and that'll be to the UK too. I see the question in chat. Yeah, that'll be UK. Pretty much anywhere in the world. He'll ship
nice.
to.
Beautiful.
Love that.
Sounds good. So do you want to tell everybody where they can find you? I know we just talked about your website, but you're on
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
types of other places as well.
Yeah, I'm,
Everywhere.
three places. So the website, chadwestport.com, Instagram, which is chad.westport, and then the YouTube channel, Chad Westport. I'm like in my mind for the last month flirting with an X account, but I have a hard enough time doing three already. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are where you can find me though. And always too, if you do have like a specific question or grow question, or if you have any questions about the strain as you grow it, just go to the website, chadwestport.com. At the bottom there's a support email. Hit me up. Always happy to answer questions, happy to check out the plants. Any assistance I could give, because a lot of times just by giving assistance I can learn things too specific about the plant, how they react, how they want to recover. So yeah, I'm down.
Nice. Sometimes forces you to do some more research because you might not know the answer.
Yes.
Great.
So,
Yes.
so right on, man.
Cool.
Well, thank you very, very much for being here. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, we greatly appreciate it.
See,
Yeah, very
Bunny,
much so.
Gannix, Mr. Gannix, thank you guys so much for having me. I'll hop off here, let you guys wrap it up.
Right
But
on,
yeah,
man.
it's a good conversation, man. Hopefully we do this again soon. And
Absolutely.
Yes.
just BS.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're always
Yes.
Thanks,
welcome
Thank you
back
guys.
so
anytime.
much.
We
Yes.
still
You
do the
guys have a
Friday
good
night
night.
thing, same time. So if you're
Okay.
free on a
Yeah.
Friday night, feel free to pop in and say hi. You don't have to show your plants if you don't want to. Your presence is
We'll all be on
enough.
turkey over. We'll all be turkey overdoses. Yeah, I'm. This is the first time in a long time I'm resetting right now. I have my two keepers, and then that's it as far as plants. Everything is new seed. So yeah, I'm excited
Nice.
about the future, but garden's a little boring right now.
That's all right.
But check out my
You're not
video. I'm
boring,
putting out a video
so
tomorrow. Germination, germination, and starting seeds. That'll be out
There
tomorrow
you
that's on
go.
because
So
that's what
don't
I'm
miss
doing right
that.
Chad
now.
Westport on YouTube, right? That'll be on YouTube.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I won't.
All right.
I'll stop shamelessly plugging myself. Everybody in chat, you guys rock. Have a good night. Thanks again for having me, you two. Party on.
All
Always.
right.
Thank
Later.
you so
Later, brother.
much. He's so awesome.
Chad's
I love
always.
when oh my God, we could have touched on so much.
He's
Yeah,
just such a
so
wealth of information that it's
oh my God,
impossible
yes.
to stay on one topic, and it's impossible to touch on all of Chad because there's just too much.
Oh,
There's too
everything
much.
from DJing to skateboarding to movies to you name it. Like he is all like he knows everything.
Exactly. And we didn't even get into any of that this time. But I mean,
No.
there is other episodes on other pages that we've been involved in that you can go back and rewatch if you want to. But
Yeah.
we will have them back
With
in the
that
future,
being
and we
said,
will get more into that stuff.
yes. So thank you all for joining us. Don't forget Friday, we do have your show, Your Grows at 9 p.m. Eastern. We would love to see your gardens. Again, you don't have to show your face. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like at 500. We are doing a giveaway. We are excited. Yes,
Yes. And we are locking some prizes down. So we do have some cool prizes.
we do.
And we got a few things in the works that aren't sealed. It's not written in stone yet, but we do have a few things that we're working on here for this giveaway. So 500, you know how it goes. We've done this before.
Yep. All right.
So yeah, I hope
Next
everybody has a
Wednesday.
good rest of their week. I
You
can't
remember
remember
who
who it
next
is off the
Wednesday?
top of my head.
Okay, we'll
No, I
skip
don't.
it. I don't want to
You don't
say the
remember
wrong
either?
name just in case. No.
It's written
I
down. I
smoke too
just
much.
don't. I don't. Hold on. Next Wednesday.
I have two names.
Nope. I don't have anybody marked down for next Wednesday. Nope.
I do. It's just it's not reachable right now.
It's not handy at the
But
moment.
yes. So check out our page and you will find out probably on Sunday who is coming on this Wednesday.
You'll probably hear on Friday who's coming on Wednesday. We'll say it on
Yes,
Friday.
yes.
We got
And
another
yes,
show
take
this
advantage of all the Black Friday sales and use code GCN on all your Canica needs. Canacan needs. Thank you, Anthony.
Yep. Yeah, so you can get your Can, you can get your Spider Farmer, you can get Bud Trainer, you can use for Green Planet, what's your code for that? Sea Bunny Grow, or is
Sea
it
Bunny
Sea Bunny?
Grow. Sea
Sea
Bunny
Bunny Grow for
grows or
Green Planet.
grow.
So, and I'm sure
But I
I got
believe
more,
that's
but
just
I don't
Canadian,
remember.
unfortunately.
I think the Spider Farmer one is for .ca as well. So if there's any Canadians out there, the Can, and I believe the Bud Trainer is everybody.
International, yes. Well, thank you guys so much, and we will see you Friday. And happy Thanksgiving to our American friends.
Yes. Enjoy your turkey. Don't eat too much.
Yes.
Have fun
Drive
watching
safe.
football. Enjoy the couch after you eat the turkey dinner.
Enjoy your family, your friends. There's so much to be thankful for.
There's that too, yeah. Your family and friends. Yeah, there's that too. But the turkey.
And your cannabis. We got to thank our ladies.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. We will see you
Peace out.
later.